So hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name is Katie and today I'm going to be talking about book recommendations based on different Disney movies. Okay, so I obviously really love Disney movies and they're just such a kind of heartwarming thing when you just need a kind of pick-me-up. So I've got my little Disneyland California t-shirt on, and also I've got Simba. The Lion King is like one of my favourites. I used to watch it like every day when I was little, and I used to know all the words actually, like the entire movie. But yeah, that's a random trivia. And also because I am actually 5 years old, I wanted to show you this mug that my grandma got me. So it's a Frozen mug. So this is what it looks like when it doesn't have any drink in. And then I've got my little relaxed tea bag. So I'm just gonna pop that in. So pop that in there. And then I've got some hot water. Try not to spill it on any of my books. Oh dear. Well, that went wrong. Don't do this at home. Okay. Just watch it. So I'll leave that and then I'll show you. You can see it's starting to change. This is so exciting. I get a joy from the smallest things. So when you put hot water in, yeah, you can see it changes. So we've got Elsa and Anna and then Kristoff and Sven and Olaf, and then it just says believe in the journey. So yeah, so I really love this one. It's such a gimmicky thing, but you know, you got to get a joy from somewhere. So I'm just going to be talking about books and like recommending a book per Disney movie. So I haven't included all of them. I've just included some of my favourites. So I'm going to start with Tangled, which Tangled and The Lion King are like my two all-time favourite Disney films. So actually for this one I'm going to recommend Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. So what a surprise, it's Sanderson. But yeah, so this one is kind of I put this one because in Warbreaker one of the characters is basically Rapunzel, even though he's a man, but you know, so he's kind of been like trapped in this castle basically, and he's been lied to all his life, and then this other character comes along and she's kind of teaching him about all the ways of the world, and they have a little romance which is really sweet. So yeah, so that one kind of reminded me of that, and also it just gives you the kind of vibes that you get from Tangled, like the sort of magic and the princesses as well in this one. I wouldn't say there was any like Mother Gothel type characters. I love her, she's such a great Disney villain. But yeah, so I'd highly recommend that one for if you like Tangled. And then next have Frozen, because who doesn't love Frozen? So Frozen, I've got my DVD there. And then so for that one is The Never Tilting World by Renegades. So this one follows two sisters. I'll hold them both up. So this one follows two sisters who were separated at birth, and they're princesses, and they've basically been living in, so the world is like split in half. So one of them is living in the kind of cold half and one of them is living in the like hot half. They're really similar to Elsa and Anna. So one of them kind of has these powers, but she's a bit like kind of hiding away, and then the other one's kind of a bit dorky. And the romance as well, that one of them really reminds me of Anna and Kristoff as well. And also the magic in this one is quite elemental, which if you've watched Frozen 2, the magic in that one's really elemental as well. That's a really another similarity between them. And yeah, I don't know why this one reminded me of so much of Frozen, but it really did, which is probably one of the reasons I loved it. But yeah, so that is that one. So next I have a recommendation from Mulan, so I'll put a picture there because I don't actually own the DVD of that one. But that is Crown of Feathers. So this one I'll put a picture of that as well. This one's the sequel. I just know I hold that up because that's the one that I own physically. So this is by Nikki Palprato. So in this one, the first one, we're following Veronica, who really wants to be a phoenix rider, and so she basically disguises herself as a boy, which is where the Mulan similarity comes in, to go and join these phoenix riders, because only boys are allowed to be phoenix riders. So it just kind of follows her through school, and there's a lot more going on as well. There's like her sister as well, who's really quite mean to her, and so she's kind of escaping from her sister. And yeah, of course, there's the phoenixes, who are really sweet little creatures, and they kind of bond to people. They have bond mates. So yeah, so Crown of Feathers was one of my favourite like YA fantasies of 2019. It was really good, and I read this one this year as well, The Heart of Flames, which is the sequel, and I really enjoyed this one as well. But yeah, it's quite reminiscent of Mulan, just kind of with the like training school aspect. With the phoenix, they're not really like Mushu, but a little bit. The kind of talking animal, and yeah, so that one is really good as well. And there is actually the love interest for Veronica. He's a General Shang type character as well, which who doesn't love Shang? But yeah, so that is that one. And also in Crown of Feathers, the main character, Veronica, she's so sweet and nice and really kind, which is a really nice thing I think to see in YA fantasy, especially because often the characters are like quite badass and all snarky, which I mean is good as well. Like, it's good to have characters like that, but it's also good to have the kind of sweeter, quieter characters, which I really like in this one. So there's that one. So then next I have The Lion King, so Simba. And yeah, so this one I'm going to recommend Flamecaster by Cinder Williams-Chimer. So the similarities in this one, I mean, obviously they're not lions in the Flamecaster series, but the beginning especially, it reminds me so much of The Lion King. Just when I was reading it, it's just the kind of, one of the characters, the main character Ash, he has a kind of traumatic event happen, and then he sort of thinks it's his fault, so he runs away from home and doesn't go back for many years, and he's trying to get his revenge on the kind of evil uncle, although it's not actually an uncle, but other kind of evil character. Reminds me of that in that way. And also there is quite a like, there's dragons in the Flamecaster series, which sort of animals, I don't know, there's a bit of a stretch, that one, but yeah, it kind of gives me, it sort of reminds me of it. So yeah, I'm gonna put that one. It was kind of a hard one. If you can think of any recommendations based on The Lion King, please let me know. But yeah, but Flamecaster is one of my favourite, well, not Flamecaster, but the series in total, like the series altogether. It's a series that is done well, like kind of as one book almost. They kind of tie together nicely. So the series overall is one of my all-time favourites. So that is that one. So the next I have Brave, which I love Brave. My family, well, my dad's side of the family is Scottish, so I like that one. Like seeing the Scottish representation, and also I love the three little, her little brothers. They're so cute when they turn into bears. Yeah, this is just me fangirling over Disney. So yeah, so for this one I'm gonna recommend Graceling by Christine Kershaw. I'll put a picture. So that one follows Katsa, who is kind of, she has this, so in this world they have powers called graces, and she has kind of a killing power. So she's like not an assassin exactly, but she goes out for her uncle and does all these tasks. But the reason it reminds me of Brave is I think Katsa and Merida are really similar. They sort of are quite independent, and they're a bit wild, and also they're not really interested in marriage. They're just kind of more interested in like finding themselves after that. And also the Graceling, there's quite a big kind of survival in the wilderness storyline, which is kind of, you get a bit of that from Brave, just the kind of foresty like atmosphere. So that is that one. Next I have a recommendation based on Moana, so I'll put a picture there. I don't own Moana, but I do love it. And that is The Broken Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. So this one is actually the second in the series. The first one's called The 100,000 Kingdoms. You could read The Broken Kingdoms first, but I recommend reading the first one first, but that's just more N.K. Jemisin, so that's good that you get to read. So this one really reminds me of Moana, because you kind of have the main character who sort of adopts a demigod who has been like banished into a human form, and she's sort of looking after him, and you follow their kind of adventures. It's not set like on the sea or anything, because I was trying really hard to think of a book that was like a quest by the sea, but for some reason I couldn't. But this one, just kind of the dynamic between like Moana and Maui, and the dynamic in the Broken Kingdoms, I thought was really good. So that is that one. And then next I have Big Hero 6. So I love this one. I love Baymax. And I think we all need a giant white thing that we can hug. So yeah, so I really love this one. It's kind of a superhero-y, yeah. It's not a Disney princess one, but it is still, you definitely get the Disney sense from that one. So for that one, I would recommend Renegades by Marissa Meyer. So this is actually the final one, because the other two I have on my Kindle. This is Supernova. So I really love this trilogy. But yeah, so Big Hero 6 is kind of a bit backwards, a bit superhero-y. And obviously Renegades is about superheroes and villains as well. So yeah, so that's the comparison. So in Renegades we follow Adrian and Nova. So Adrian is one of the renegades who are the superheroes, and then Nova is actually an anarchist. So they are the villains. And so basically in Renegades, Nova's trying to infiltrate the Renegades, but then maybe she realizes that actually the Renegades aren't so bad. But yeah, it's just a really fun series. I think Marissa Meyer books are just so kind of they're like eating sweets, basically. They're just kind of so fun, and they just make you feel happy. So I really enjoyed them. And Adrian and Nova are such great characters as well. So that is that one. And then I also want to recommend a book based on Aladdin, so I'll put a picture there because I do love Aladdin. And that one is going to be City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. So this one we follow Nari, who accidentally summons a deva. So it's kind of the similarity to Aladdin with the kind of partly the setting, because they're both kind of that kind of Arabian set, summoning the genie. Although the devas aren't exactly genies, but so yeah, so Nari gets whisked away to the magical city called Davabad, where all the deva kind of live, and she sort of gets embroiled in the politics there. Nari is also kind of like at the beginning, she's sort of like a street kind of con artist, which is kind of similar to Aladdin. So yeah, so I love City of Brass. It's a great series, and I'm so excited for the last one, which is coming out in June. So that's exciting. Yeah, so, and then finally I wanted to mention, so I mainly wanted to mention this one just so I could show you this. So this is Cinderella. So this is a video. It's such a throwback. So yeah, so when I was little we used to watch all our films on video. I had The Lion King on video as well. But so for this one I'm just gonna, so these ones are retelling, so these are also by Marissa Meyer, and that would be the Lunar Chronicles series. So Cinder, the first one, is actually based on Cinderella. Kind of get that from the title. But yeah, they're such a fun series, especially if you like Disney films. They sort of give you that feeling when you read them. They're just kind of so sweet, and they're a little bit kind of, I would say, a younger YA audience. Book we follow Cinder, who's kind of half cyborg, so parts of her are mechanical, and she basically, in this world there's a big plague, and she finds out she's immune to the plague, and the Prince Kai as well follows him. And then they sort of meet at a ball. You kind of know the plot. But yeah, the Lunar Chronicles world is really it really expands throughout the series. And it's a great series, especially if you just start trying to get into fantasy, sci-fi. I would say it's more sci-fi, but yeah, it's a good series. And yeah, so this one's Cinderella. So I would probably, I haven't watched this version in ages, but I would highly recommend the live action Cinderella, because it's got Lily James and Richard Madden in. What more could you want? Yeah, and also I think that one's a bit more modern, like there's better kind of themes, it's a bit more feminist. But yeah, so that is that one. So that is all my recommendations for you today. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you have any ideas, because any books that are in any way similar to Disney films, I will get on them straight away. Or if you've read any of the books in this video, or you would like to, then definitely let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and also subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, so goodbye, and I'll see you next time.